But first, I got sent a terrific text after last night's show. We'd been talking about so many Australians losing their jobs, maybe you included, coffee shops, restaurants, and we were talking about things, well, what could we do? I mean, but anyway, here's the text, and this is, honestly, after everything we've been hearing about people taking buses down to the country to loot shops down there of goods, sending stuff overseas that Australians need right here, and brawling in supermarket aisles. We need good news. Here's some of it. The text that I got sent. Some good news. I bought a coffee yesterday. It was $4. I paid $200. Made the guy cry. The next 4 or 5 customers did similar to me. We all need to help. Now, this, I know it's trite to say this. I know it's trite to say this and people are saying it. But this really is a time when we've got to look out for each other. Those of us that are a bit more fortunate, helping people that are really up against it now. As the Prime Minister today said too, talking specifically about health in this case, if you don't look after yourself, you're feeling young and invincible, well, if you don't look after yourself and keep healthy, well, you might not get that sick yourself, but you could actually kill other people. And speaking of that, there is one group of Australians in particular that I think we're not giving enough of our concern and our care. These are the people who are most likely to be terrified today, and with good reason. Their chances of dying if they get sick, they're up to 1 in 5, even higher. They're also the people who will be the first to miss out if our hospitals do run out of critical care, get swamped. I'm talking about our older Australians. Now, you know, many of us say, oh, we don't need to panic so much about this virus because for most of us the symptoms can be so slight. We say, or perhaps used to say, things like this in the Canberra Times 8 weeks ago. But should we all be panicking? Probably not. Although a number of people have died from the virus, they are mostly elderly people who already had other health issues. And that's actually perfectly true. But I've got to ask, how does that reassurance sound to the Australians who are aged 65 years or old or more, the 4 million Australians like that? Now, I've got friends in their 70s and 80s. Some are in a panic. Some have virtually locked themselves away in their homes, desperately hoping not to get infected. And who can blame them? All 7 Australians who have so far died from this virus, the latest yesterday, were elderly, very elderly. And in Italy, now the country with the highest death toll in the world, another 425 dead just overnight. The evidence is absolutely clear from a study last week. Yes, teenagers can catch this coronavirus too, but it's the old who do most of the dying. No one in Italy aged under 30 has yet died, not one. But those infected in their 60s, they have a 3.5% chance of dying. Those in their 70s, it's 12.5%. And those in their 80s, a nearly 20% death rate. And if you're over 90 and get the virus, it's 22.7%, 1 in 4 nearly. And another study in Italy, by the way, says 99% of the dead had at least one pre-existing medical condition, cancer, heart, so on. And that's why many aged care homes now are going into virtual lockdown, limiting or in some cases even banning visits, which means that many of the 200,000 Australians inside those homes are looking like they're up for virtually solitary confinement. Some are going to go nuts with the loneliness. If you can help them out, please think about what to do. So, given all that, how do you think the 4 million Australians aged over 65 are feeling today? Now, I got an email from one of them last night from a regular viewer, Leo Maglin. Now, I won't read out the lot, but these bits give a real insight into the fear out there. We are the superannuated, quiet Australians, former ordinary workers, self-employed, small business people. Along comes the coronavirus and we find we are bashed in a three-pronged assault. Firstly, those in my cohort, Leo is 78, are told that we are in the most high-risk category. That's concerning enough, but it also means that we have to take many more disruptive, life-changing precautions. I hear people on the radio saying, oh, I had real trouble, flying somewhere. I'm thinking, first world problem. What about people like this? Secondly, we have watched in horror as our investment portfolios, upon which our incomes depend, are smashed. And thirdly, much is made of the severe shortage of respirators, intensive care unit beds, etc., to cope with the projected demands. Well, if demand outstrips supplies, tough decisions will have to be made about who gets access to these life-saving facilities and who will not. Practice in other countries, Italy, I'll have more about that soon, is that the elderly are considered the least likely to benefit, i.e. less likely to recover, less likely to have future worth to society, and so are left to cope without them, left to die. Now, I don't know what the answers are to all of those issues, but I do know where the real fear in this country is. And I think that all of us have got to think what we can personally do now to protect and comfort and care for our elderly, who, like no one else in this country, are in most danger, and they know it.